For those who tune in here in America, good evening. And while for our guests joining us from Shanghai, China, good morning. Diane and David, thanks for being here with us today. My name is Chen. I'm a moderator tonight. I'm a student at Harvard pursuing a master's degree in school leadership. Currently, I'm also interning at a Cambridge-based private school, which is also like joining in a concerted efforts combating the COVID-19 crisis. As we all know, in the US, the COVID-19 situation is apparently escalating, and the US becomes the first country reporting 100,000 confirmed coronavirus cases. Needless to say, the pandemic is afflicting people across the entire nation and globally. Again, against this background, today we're very lucky and glad to have two distinguished guests from the Pao School joining us today to share their thoughts on how to combat this crisis. Like Larry Bacall, the president of Harvard, once said, "The world needs courage and creativity and intelligence to beat virus." Let's welcome our guests to share with us their thoughts on the measures to combat this virus. And they will probably first give us a speech titled "The Strategic Lessons from Within China for US Schools in Responding to COVID-19. Of course, first of all, please introduce yourself a little bit and also the Pao schools. David, why don't you go first?
Kevin, thank you. And good evening to everybody. Good morning here in a very wet Shanghai. It's raining a lot. Just a quick introduction to our school and to ourselves. It's Diane. Diane, quickly, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Diane. I attended colleges in the United States and got my master's degree from Kellogg School of Management. Came back to China in 2007. Has joined Pao 2 years ago.
And my name's David Mansfield. I'm the executive headmaster of Pao School. Before that, I was head of an international school in Beijing and a couple of schools in the UK. I'm British, but I can't, be held accountable for that. And so we are really pleased to be able to have the opportunity of sharing our experiences and really want to pass on our deepest sympathy and support for everybody going through it there in the States. It's been difficult here in China, but been very well handled by the authorities. And as a result, there are no new cases now in Shanghai and haven't been for a while. Only cases of COVID-19 in Shanghai are those that have been brought back by returnees. And as you probably know, as of yesterday, or the day before yesterday, all internationals were no longer able to come back into China. So China is closing the virus down in a very effective format. And also has been able to do a pretty good job on the delivery of an education service to the children after the school is closed. And we'll say more about that later on. But it's a very interesting learning curve. Now, our school is what's called a bilingual school. So about 50-50 in English and in Chinese. Our aim is quite deliberately to develop the whole person, not necessarily in contrast to Chinese schools, because a lot of Chinese schools are doing the same sort of thing now, but it's a very sort of holistic, child-centered education, similar to the sort of thing you'd find in an independent school in the States or the UK. We also want to make sure that we really embed Chinese foundations so our students know what it means to be Chinese, as well as being able to function effectively in an international context. So we follow a curriculum which is by law a Chinese curriculum. All Chinese students, and about 75% of ours are Chinese, have to follow the Chinese curriculum. But we integrate on top of that elements of international curricula as well in an approach to try and get the two aims of our vision, international and Chinese, fulfilled. Students come from all over the world. A lot of them, if you were to walk into a class, would appear to be Chinese ethnically. And as I say, a lot of them are from China. But a lot of returning Chinese with international passports, or from mixed families. We do have a number of expats as well who are committed to their children being brought up bilingual. So it's a pretty varied mix. In year one, we probably have about 50-50 international and Chinese in the cohort. Our teachers equally are about 50-50. The Chinese side obviously taught by Chinese PRC staff, the others taught by internationals, mostly from the US and the UK, but from other English-speaking nations as well. And of course, this is a real issue for us and for many international schools because the COVID virus broke out during Chinese New Year, when many of our international teachers were overseas. Getting them back into country has been a real challenge. Now we've got about 97% of our staff back, which is very, very good. So it means that when our school will reopen, we're in a position to be able to kick off again.